or cold or flu, but if your engine's got a cough, I know what to do. Give it 6 of these and wash it down with this. A new air filter ought to help it catch its breath. Napa know-how. Napa know-how.
You went, you served, and forged the relationships that only being baptized in the fire of combat can develop. At FallInVeteran.com, we understand the unique bond that veterans share. That's why we've created a platform where you can connect, share experiences, and build lifelong friendships with fellow veterans. Signing up is easy. Simply visit www.fall-in-veteran.com and create your profile. Customize it to reflect your military service interests and hobbies. FallInVeteran.com is more than just an online community. It's a support network where you can find resources, advice, and encouragement from those who understand what you've been through. Whether you're looking for camaraderie, mentorship, or simply a place to share your stories, FallInVeteran.com has it all. Join thousands of veterans who have already found their tribe and start connecting today. FallInVeteran.com. Come join us and experience the power of community. Sign up now at www.fall-in-veteran.com.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA Super Cup Series. Definitely excited to be here tonight for the Napa Auto 250 at Richmond Raceway, otherwise known as the Action Track or Strawberry Hill. My name is Brian Britt, of course. Big Al, Alfonso Nixon, going to be in the booth with me this week. We're glad to have him back for sure. Of course, Kobe Jordan down behind the cameras. I'm excited about this one, Big Al. How are you doing this evening?
I am glad to be back, Brian, and thank you. When we get down at Richmond, this is actually one of my favorite tracks, and I think these guys are going to really bring it tonight. Looking for an action-packed couple of hours here, man. I think it's going to really kick off.
Yeah, of course, it is called the Action Track, and this is a very fun track. I've had the pleasure of doing quite a few races here this week in the A Opens, just to kind of, it's a track that I think suits me in a lot of ways. I mean, it is, I'd say, the worst version of Iowa. I like Iowa a lot, and Iowa, of course, was built with this track in mind. Iowa's kind of a better version of Richmond, and not to disparage anyone that enjoys this track. I think this is a fun track. It really is, but there is a lot less banking. There is a lot of, with the less banking, there is an opportunity to spin the car out, as we're seeing on the screens right now. I think we just saw Brian Johnson just losing it on the exit of turn 2. Very easy to do that at this racetrack. Also very easy to hit the wall coming out of turn 2. That is I'd say the danger zone. I think that is a good way to describe coming off of turn 2. You're either going to get loose or you're going to smack the wall. Both. If either one of those happens, you're going to be in for some trouble, because I tell you what, these cars are very vulnerable to wheel damage. I know in the races I've been in, wheel damage has been an issue.
Yeah, also coming out of turn 4, that's also going to be a little bit of a point of contention for our drivers as well.
Yeah, you could definitely get on the gas a little bit too hard. If you get on the gas a little 2 out of 4, it's very easy to get loose there. Let's take a look at the race facts. So we have them up on our screens. Of course, this is the Napa 250 at Richmond Raceway. 250 laps on the docket here tonight. Stages are 50 and 115. Those, of course, that'll be stage 1 and stage 2. 7 sets of tires altogether. 6 down in the pits for these guys to actually change into. Fuel window is 128 laps. Now, looking at the math here, these guys, I don't think they can make it on fuel, but even if they could make it on fuel on that last stage, you don't want to try to do that, because the tires are going to be so badly worn. The tire fall off this week has been very, very drastic here at Richmond Raceway. It looks like qualifying now has started. I will be honest, I think qualifying is probably going to be one of the most important things about tonight's race. You're going to really want to start up front. It's so hard to pass at Richmond.
And plus, Brian, one thing we're going to notice on these restarts, if you're not starting in that straight line, and that does make a difference because of the curvature of this track coming out of turn 4, you really have to watch yourself. For those guys going to be accelerating through that turn, that's always going to be a point right there where we'll look for some guys to actually lose it.
That's a good point, too. I mean, if you're starting further back in the field and maybe starting within the turn instead of starting on the Geico restart zone, you will possibly, have some issues with that for sure, as we see some guys already out here trying to take, qualifying. Let's see what they're able to do. Of course, let's take a look at points while these guys are kind of getting up to speed. Of course, taking a look at the points right now, we are getting closer and closer to, I'd say the end of the regular season. So this is getting, I think, more and more intense. More drivers needing to win. Now, if you have run 14 races in this season and you win a race, you are eligible for the playoffs. So, and that is making a lot of these guys really just trying to get as many, trying to get a win in order to lock themselves in. For those that are eligible. Of course, Brandon Passalacqua, he's at the top of the board right now. He has been Mr. Consistency. I mean, of course, last week, I do believe finished, if I'm not mistaken, he finished in the top 3. I think maybe second place, I do believe, is where he finished at. But he has just been locking up top 3 after top 3, top 5 after top 5. And you can see it in the points right there, 15 top 5s from this driver. He's gotten them, a ton of playoff points. And he's just been getting great points anyway. I mean, but you can just see it right there. Consistency. Matt DeCiani, of course, did not run last week at Pocono, but he still has been really consistent as well. He was able to do really well at some of the road courses, and he's sitting in second place. Patrick Gitter didn't run last week as well at Pocono, but he still sits in that third place in points. Brian Johnson, he ran pretty good last week at Pocono. He sits in fourth. Derek Heitman, very close to winning the race last week at Pocono. He actually he won both stages. Unfortunately, came up short. I do believe finished in third place, if I'm not mistaken. in the race. Randy Mullins, of course, 6th place in the points. Josh Schaffner, 7th. He had a really good run last week, I do believe, until I think something might have went wrong. 8th place, Tim Wortman Jr. He was actually battling for the top 3 finish last week with Derek Heitman. Very, very fast. Tim Wortman has been heating up here as of late. I'm ready for him to get his first win in this series. I think he's capable of doing it. Abner Acosta sits 9th, and Kenny Powell rounds out the top 10. So a lot of guys going to be hungry for victory here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's a lot of opportunity out there, Brian, at least through the first 2 stages. Drivers got a chance to come out here tonight and actually do something in to really advance themselves. Going to really be watching out to see if Abner's not here, but going to be watching to see if Kenny Powell can actually advance himself into that top 10 of the points as well.
Yeah, no, he is 10th in points right now, but can he get a victory to kind of lock himself into the playoff picture? I think that's going to be what he's going to be looking for. I know Powell has been doing some races this season, or this week, I should say. I know he did an NIS last week. I kind of hung out with him while he was doing that. It seemed like he's got some speed for sure, but qualifying, as I said, going to be really important. At the moment, Brandon Pasalacqua is at the top of the board. He has been awesome. He's been really good at qualifying here as of late. I mean, he's been starting up in the top 5, it seems like, every race and finishing there. Can he hold the track position? I think if he can, Pasalacqua could possibly cook off another win here. I do want to mention Clayton Hoffman. Hoffman, last week at Pocono, started in like 20th. He started in like 18th or something like that. Drove his way all the way to the front and won the race at Pocono. I mean, the guy has been almost nigh unstoppable, and he's starting in 3rd right now, it seems to be. We got a star-studded cast up in this top 5, and I can't wait to see what these guys do. Let's take a step away, though. We'll pay some attention to our sponsors, but before that, we'll play our national anthem. We'll be right back.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
The nighttime is the right time. Remember what I told all my drivers? Reach up there and pull those belts tight one more time. Drivers, start your engines. Cardiology, I don't have the heart. Pulmonary doctor, no cigar. I can't diagnose a simple cold or flu, but if your engine's got a cough, I know what to do. Give it 6 of these and wash it down with this. A new air filter ought to help it catch its breath. Napa know how. Napa know how.
you served and forged the relationships that only being baptized in the fire of combat can develop. At fallinveteran.com, we understand the unique bond that veterans share. That's why we've created a platform where you can connect, share experiences, and build lifelong friendships with fellow veterans. Signing up is easy. Simply visit www.fall-in-veteran.com and create your profile. Customize it to reflect your military service interests and hobbies. FallInVeteran.com is more than just an online community. It's a support network where you can find resources, advice, and encouragement from those who understand what you've been through. Whether you're looking for camaraderie, mentorship, or simply a place to share your stories, FallInVeteran.com has it all. Join thousands of veterans who have already found their tribe and start connecting today. FallInVeteran.com. Come join us and experience the power of community. Sign up now at www.fall-in-veteran.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA Super Cup Series. As, of course, we get ready to start Richmond Raceway. The action, of course, is all set to start here in just a moment as we have our starting grid all lined up. Brandon Pasalacqua, who was able to qualify on the pole with a 22.165. That is a very, very fast lap here, especially with the track temp. Of course, Derek Heitman, he's going to be starting in second place. Very dominant performance last week at Pocono, trying to follow it up here. Clayton Hoppin, of course, who was able to get victory last week at Pocono. He's going to be starting in third. This is a very good qualifying spot if you want to try to take the lead early. Patrick Gitter starting in fourth. Fifth place, Matt DeCiani. Star-studded top five right now. Sixth place, Randy Mullins. Seventh is going to be Brian Johnson. Eighth place, Paul Hill, who was able to really show a lot of speed. I do believe at the Chicago Street Course, so he's definitely good under braking. Josh Schaffner, the Iceman, always good on the long run, starts in ninth place. Tim Wortman Jr., he's going to be in 10th. Jeffrey Souza starts 11th. Jay Hone in 12th, and Nick King in 13th.
And that's going to put Randy Belk starting in 14th. Alongside him is going to be Mark Sanchez. Matthew Sissona starts off in 16th with Alexander Carr in 17th. 18th, Greg Wachinski. Next to him is G&G teammate, the 24, Kenny Powell. 20 shows Jose Acosta. Welcome back, Jose. Alongside him will be the other car in this field, Greg Carr. Randy Drummiller starts off in 22nd with Jason Maines on his outside. And then this 25-car field is ended by Paul Olsen and John Bender.
Yeah, definitely, as we get rolling right on cue. Of course, these guys have 2 pace laps before the green flag actually flies for the first time, because this is a short track, 0.75 mile racetrack, so it is quite a short track around this place. It doesn't feel like it sometimes. This place does drive a lot like a speedway, especially on that front stretch. You're going to see a lot of speed on that front stretch going into turn number 1. Those brake pedals are going to be very much in use here tonight. As, of course, Brandon Pasalacqua, though, has the best seat in the house. This is where I'd want to start if I was in this field. I'd want to start on this pole because, I mean, if you are able to pull away and really just dictate the start here, that is going to be a huge, huge advantage at a track like Richmond where the draft does not matter as much. Clean air is going to be important. You're going to want to try to have that car rotating as good as possible, and clean air helps that.
Yeah, absolutely. We're watching to see what Brandon actually does. Sometimes he gets out front, it's kind of to his own detriment, especially when he's got guys chasing him, the likes of Patrick Gitter and Clayton Hoffman. These guys are going to unveil their strategy probably a little bit sooner than later in this race, Brian, and I want to see if track position is going to be key.
I think it will be. I definitely think track position is going to be really, really important. But, I mean, you also can kind of overexert your tires, and I think that's what we're looking to see if Brandon does here as we go to the Geico restart zone. Green flag out for the first time here tonight at Richmond Raceway and the ISCA, and a relatively tame start, I should say, for Pasalacqua. He does get clear up to the top here. He is going to be able to take that lead in. It is very secure as you see side by side for second place. A little bit of a wiggle there for Derek Heitman on that top side as Clayton Hoffman sticks it in underneath the 76. Look at this, tight racing for second place. Very hard to pass at this racetrack, and you can see why that is. I mean, these guys are just not able to get the runs up off the corners when they're side by side on the bottom side. That top side is just going to be able to carry the momentum.
And right now, because of that very thing that's allowing Brandon Pasalaka to kind of pull away to get really going off to a pretty good sized lead here, and that's going to work out to his favor. It's further back in the pack. Everybody's stragglers still hanging out there, but it looks like everybody's finding the group.
Yeah, one thing is you can see Clayton Hoffman getting very tight on the 76. That is going to give Patrick Gitter a good run up to the back bumper of the 92. It looks like Clayton Hoffman is going to have to concede and pretty much just back off. But unfortunately, he's under fire. Team Conti is attacking the Nitro Clayton Hoffman at the moment. As, of course, you can see Randy Mullins has made his way up into 6th place right now. He's in the midst of a battle with Paul Hill, has him right there behind him. But the 92 is just having a swarm of Conti drivers on him right now.
Yeah, I think that's the way it's going to be for the foreseeable future here, Brian, as these guys seem to be really hooked up for whatever reason. I think they're really dialed into this track here tonight, and that's working out in their favor so far.
Yeah, no, they definitely seem to be dialed in. But I think as well, they don't want to let Clayton, they don't want to let him breathe. Why would you? I would not want to let Clayton breathe either. Because, I mean, the thing is Clayton Hoffman has absolutely been just showing these guys, taking them to school in a lot of ways. I mean, last week at Pocono, this guy drove from, like I said, 20th or so, I think it was 18th actually, all the way up to the lead and won the race. I mean, and we've seen him, at Indianapolis. Remember at Indianapolis, Big Al, the guy was the only one that was able to just drive away at a draft track like Indianapolis. He was just like, see you later, bye. And I don't think these guys want to let him breathe. If they give him an inch, he's going to run to a country mile.
Well, right now, he definitely does not seem to be really dialed in as he's just holding his own here in 4th place. But I'm going to tell you, this is not the track that I think is going to allow you to get that kind of a run on a driver. It just doesn't lend itself to that, in my personal opinion. I hope that he will be able to reel in the guys in front of him, but like Brandon Pasalaka. I think tires is going to be what's going to hurt these guys.
Battle right now, though, Paul Hill and Randy Mullins. This is for 6th place. Randy Mullins under fire from the 26. Paul Hill has been one that has been very good on the brakes here, as they are very close at the moment. Side by side, door to door, almost contact between the two drivers. And just to kind of go back to that conversation about Clayton Hoffman, though, one thing we got to keep in mind is Clayton knows how to adjust on these race cars. You talk about he doesn't seem like he's handling very well right now. Well, that's just information for him. That's data that he's able to plug into that building machine that he essentially has in his brain, right? I mean, this guy knows what he's doing when it comes to building on a race car. So even though he might not be handling well right now, I think eventually he's going to get that car worked out.
Amen, brother. He is not the guy to bet against, I'll tell you that.
That's right, 100%. And one thing we got to also realize is I think this race is going to be won on a long run as well. I mean, ISCA known for long runs. We see it all the time where races will run 100% green. The only cautions we see are from the stage cautions. And even though we look at a track like Richmond is a race track that is kind of known for accidents. You know, this is like a Martinsville type racetrack. I mean, in a way, I mean, Richmond is different than Martinsville, but you do see a lot of bump and runs. You do see a lot of guys getting loose. You see accidents at this kind of a track. But I don't know if we're going to see a whole lot of accidents. I mean, maybe I'll be wrong. We'll see.
Well, I think we just missed one. It's the 33 of Randy Belk has actually come in with the dreaded repairs required flag. I'm going to assume that means he made contact with someone or something. He's getting 4 tires in that Goodyear Sonoco fuel, but I don't know. Maybe we could see what actually happened to him.
Yeah, I'd be definitely curious to see what happened. He is now 2 laps down and counting, so he's probably going to continue to go laps down as we see Jay Hone as well as coming down pit road. So something has gone wrong for Jay as well, as we're looking at the 33 to see exactly what possibly happened here to him. And I wouldn't be shocked. There it is, just a loose condition there for him. Very loose, and you talked about how dangerous it is coming off of turn 4, and I think that's exactly what happened for Mr. Hone, or for Mr. Randy Belk. He hit and he clacked the inside wall. I think that's what gave that repairs required flag. Would not be surprised that he broke the toe link with that hit.
Not sure why Jay Hone is actually parked it on pit road. Not sure what that's about, but he doesn't seem to be moving.
Yeah, I think we got Jay Home maybe with some issues. We're going to see if we can figure out exactly what it is. I know I saw Jay racing somewhat in the A Opens this week. So not sure exactly what's going on here. I know he's done a lot of preparation, though, as we watch him. And just a loose condition. Oh, boom. Another hit on the inside wall. Now, that loose condition came off of turn 2. And I think did he get a repairs required flag? I mean, I would assume he did.
He did not actually have a repairs required flag. Just seems that he is just down and behind the wall.
Well, that hit on the wall, even though it didn't give him repairs required, I guarantee you that gave him wheel damage. Even though you might not get a black flag, that spotter will say, hey, you got wheel damage, and that can change the handling of the race car quite substantially, even if it doesn't force you down pit road. Brandon Pasalacqua, though, still in the lead at the moment. He has got, of course, about a half a second lead on Derek Heitman at the moment. Looking at lap times, Derek right now is, I do believe, the fastest car on the racetrack currently. And we're seeing a lot of fall-off, about a half a second, about 4/10, 5/10, of fall-off at the moment. So that's going to be something to keep an eye on. Of course, we're 18 laps into this run, and it's only going to get worse from here. The cars are just going to start handling worse and worse. But this
Absolutely.
is when the data starts coming in. This is when you start to figure out, what can I do to make my car last longer?
And as we're watching this, we're starting to see somewhere around 12th place with Matthew Sisson. These guys are around 12th and back are now starting to drift over into the 23-second per lap, and that's going to be a difference right there. We're seeing, because qualifying was way down in the low 22. So yeah, definitely starting to see that degradation of tire is starting to definitely come into play.
It's happening. It's happening fast, too, as we're watching Kenny Powell. Powell battling pretty hard. It gets a little bit tight on the 3 of Nick King. Now, we got to remember Nick King last week at Pocono just had a tremendously dramatic, traumatic, whatever word you want to use to describe it. King had a bad race at Pocono, and he's probably looking to kind of set things a little bit more right now. But Powell as well did not have the best race last week at Pocono, so I do believe he's also kind of desperate. And Powell has done a lot of preparation this week. He's ran A Opens, he's ran NIS races. I do believe the guy feels like he's quick with that 24. Richmond, one of his favorite tracks. That's what he told me last night. And you can see he's battling hard right now to try to get up through this field. But just look how hard it is to pass. I mean, it's almost impossible, it seems like, as Jason Maines takes advantage.
Yeah, definitely starting to spread this field out a little bit like peanut butter. You know what I mean? First we were all kind of together and tight, but as these tires start to wear out and different teams, I guess they're handling their setups are definitely starting to show their ugly face. Paul Osen is really struggling as that 43 car, Brian. He is really making mid 23 laps, and he's going to have the leader on his honchos here before too long.
Yeah, definitely something going on with that race car. Looks like he's probably gotten really, really tight or something like that, because his lap times are definitely not what he probably wants. And I think you're right. I think he's going to eventually have those leaders all over him. This is not a good track for lap traffic as well. I mean, if you're side by side, this is going to be a difficult track for lap traffic as we see this battle going on right now. This is for 12th place, I do believe. Matthew Cisna fighting with Alexander Carr. It looks like Cisna has gotten the pass completed up on the top side. He's going to slide down in front of the 18. Now, of course, you were talking about spreading out. Well, the gap is the biggest right here. I mean, from Matthew Cisna to Jeffrey Souza is roughly about 3.7 seconds. Like Brandon Pasalacqua, looking like he's got a lot of consistency right now. And one thing I'm looking at with Pasalacqua, he's got a second gap right now on Derek Heitman. He is pulling away. And lap time-wise, this is not surprising. Looking at his lap times, 23.063 last time by. He was a 10th faster than Derek Heitman last time by. And that's not a surprise to me, I don't believe. I feel like this is clean air working right here. This is conservation of those front tires.
Well, Heitman really kind of backed off a lot a bit, and that actually caused the 92 to kind of like drift right up into him.
Yeah, I think Heitman might be struggling. Looking at the lap times, Derek Heitman last time by 23.6. Something is going wrong with the 76 machine. They're going to definitely be throwing the toolbox at that race car to see exactly what's going on. Here comes Clayton to the inside, going to see if he could possibly get up to that third-place position. A little bit tight up to the door of the 76. Can he get this pass completed? As we still have, what's crazy is, about 21 laps, I do believe, next time by to go in this stage. So it feels like we've been on a long run as it is, but, we're nowhere near the end of this stage.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a little bit over halfway. Honestly, the stage 1 is scheduled for 50 laps. We're just now coming up on lap 29 with the leaders. So this thing is really kind of popping it off. Paul Olsen decided to park that thing behind the wall. Guess he didn't really want to get in the way, but that's going to give us a little bit of a breather here, Brian, before that leader actually starts to run into anything but clean air.
Yeah, I mean, Brandon is pulling away. He's gone right now. Brandon is setting sail, and it's all because of that clean air. I think that's what I was saying at the top of the broadcast. Like I was saying, qualifying is going to be probably the most important thing. That if you do that well at this racetrack, you're going to probably do well in this race. Because, especially we know Brandon. He's got a good race pace. I mean, he's always very consistent on the longer runs. And he's got the track position, and it's going to be very difficult to wrangle that from him. I think that these guys are going to have to do some drastic pit strategy. Now, I will say there is an option later in this race. If we see maybe a late race caution for a two-tire stop, that could maybe get you some track position. That could be maybe a game play that somebody makes.
That's a risky play, though.
It's a risky play, very risky, but it can work.
Yeah, and I think some drivers might actually, take you up on that just because it looks like some drivers are really struggling with their handling as you look at the gap between the 96 and all the way back to the 24 Kenny Powell. That is a huge gap right there. I could land an aircraft in between those guys, Brian.
Oh, I think we might have had some Paul Hill is just taking over third place. I think we might have just saw some sort of issue happen. Clayton Hoffman, I think, and Derek Heitman might have just had something happen here as we're taking a look at this. I don't know. Maybe did Clayton move the 76?
Clayton's really,
looks like
back.
Looks like Heitman got loose on the exit. Yeah, and then Clayton just kind of sends him for a ride. Paul Hill able to ride through. This almost was a caution.
Yeah, that actually cost those guys a ton of track position as well. But
yeah,
I'm going to tell you, the person that didn't get affected is the 21 and the 6. Those guys are in a different county now.
Yeah, they are. That really helped them out quite a bit. I mean, they kind of have definitely driven away and really don't have to worry too much about that. And Clayton, I don't think that was necessarily Clayton's intention to turn Derek. I think Derek just got so loose and was so slow. Something's wrong with the 76's car. And I think they're going to have to make some major adjustments to that race car right now. Because, clearly he's off the pace compared to a lot of the drivers out here. And you can see even just the wiggles we're seeing with that 76. So I don't think Clayton meant to touch him, but it still happened.
I think the tires. I think the tires are just worn out.
Look at that. See, right there, he is struggling. Something is wrong with his race car. And I would not be surprised that the Team Conti guys are probably talking right now with Derek. Derek's probably giving them data, and they're probably talking about adjustments. Like, what can I do? What can I do? I mean, that's one thing that I got to say, Big Al, is got to be so frustrating for Derek Heitman right now. He's probably talking to these guys and trying to figure out what can I do, but he's still got 12 laps to go, and he's got to kind of just hold on as best he can until the stage caution. I mean, that's got to feel like a scary situation to be in.
Yeah, limited adjustments can he make from the seat that he's in, and he doesn't want to change his driving style too much, Brian, because when they actually do make those adjustments to the car, we want them to be able to drive the car that says caution.
Yellow flag is out early.
That is not scheduled.
And I do believe the caution involving Greg Carr and John Bender, as we see two cars without front ends. Both of these drivers have joined the discount modifieds class, as both of them seem to have some major front end damage.
Yeah, with 10 laps to go here in this stage, you think anybody's going to come down pit road, or everybody just going to stay out there?
Man, this is that's the worst kind of incident right there. That's the worst kind of incident. You could just tell Greg coming off of turn 2 was loose, and then he got back to the throttle, trying to get back to the gas. And so, I wouldn't mind if we could take another look back at that. kind of looking at it. I'd like to look at it from Greg's cockpit if we can. We can kind of see exactly what kind of mistake he made. I think he had just too much wheel in it on the exit, and I would assume that's kind of what happened there, because this is something that can happen to anybody on this racetrack. Very easy to do what he just did. He just got loose off a 2. And you'll see he's kind of trying to battle with Cisna. He has wheel in it right there. He tries to unwind it, and just all of a sudden, and this is all of a sudden. Like, there's not a whole. He tries to correct it. He thinks he's got it, and then gets back on the gas and right into the outside wall.
Interesting call, but it seems that everyone, with the exception of 6 cars, is down pit road right now.
Such a dramatic crash, but that is definitely very, very interesting, to say the least.
Now, these guys that are pitting right now, it's, we still got to go 9 laps to the end of the stage. So, of course, I mean, you're really kind of that's an iffy one right there, Brian.
Yeah, looking at it right now, looking at the data, I do believe the top 4 are still out on the racetrack and have not pitted. They're on 42 lap old tires. I do believe Alexander Carr, who was further back in the mid pack, he's now moved up to 4th.
And this was what I just asked you about this earlier. What is the call? Because you're coming in, you're so close. You're not going to be able to make that next stage without actually having to pit on tires if you pit it this early. So I don't know, man. That was just I guess that's the call of the race.
Yeah, I don't know, man. This is going to be a wheel spin situation as well. This is going to be kind of a dangerous restart. 42 laps on tires. That's a lot of tire wear. And the lap times are going to be so much slower. I mean, these guys are almost a second off of their fastest laps. So I don't think they're going to be able to hold off Brandon Pasalacqua, Gitter, all these guys on newer tires. I don't think that's going to be feasible. I think the only thing that's going to be feasible here for Matt DeCiani to hold on to this stage win is if possibly a caution comes out immediately. That's kind of his only game here, or only gain. But I don't think that this is a play for a stage win, Big Al. I think this is a resource conservation call. I think we got 6 tire changes, and in that final stage, if we see like a bunch of cautions, you want to have a couple extra sets that you can kind of play with. And I think this is what these guys are doing. I think they're just conservation of their equipment here.
Yeah, 1 to go, man. It does seem awfully. It's going to be curious. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. I'm just curious. I'm curious to see how this plays out, because you're right. It's going to be very difficult.
And I'm curious what the rest of the. I'm curious what the rest of the guys are going to do, like Brandon and Patrick and all these other guys that didn't, all these other guys that did just pit and take tires. Are they going to pit again? Either way you slice it, there's going to be some. This is a difficult decision these guys had to make.
Yeah, because here we go. Towards the middle of the end of that run, you're going to be struggling on tires. Yeah, however long these guys stay side by side, as they are off, Matt DeCiani wasting no time getting going. Derek Heitman's going to get sliding up just a little bit. Going to leave the door for Brandon Pasalacqua, as he's going to make easy work of the 76. Now he has the one of DeCiani locked in his sights.
Yeah, and you can see just the difference in speed here. I mean, 40-something laps on tires. Brandon Pasalacqua going to easily be able to take this lead from DeCiani, as we're coming now to we're now 5 laps to go, and it looks like Pasalacqua has taken the lead. Paul Hill quickly moving up to that second place position. Josh Schaffner going to possibly maybe get up to 3rd, considering, as we see Hill now challenging DeCiani for 2nd, and it's not even a fight. I mean, it's not even a battle. Matt is he's on such old tires right now that it's not even a fight. As teammate Patrick Gitter gets to the inside, Gitter's going to move up to 4th. Big mover is Randy Mullins. He's now up into possibly the top 5 if he can get by Matt DeCiani. Caution flag is out a little bit prematurely. I think this is going to end the stage.
It definitely is going to end the stage, Brian, but still not sure what caused it. The 18 car Looks like he went around and around on his
Alexander.
own.
Yeah, Alexander Carr, who stayed out on the older tires, has gone around, it seems. And that has brought the caution out. Let's see if we can find out exactly what happened here. But it looks like I think he might have, he got turned by the 33 of Randy Belk. It does appear. But I got to be honest, I wouldn't say, the way I just said that Randy Belk turned him, I really don't think that was Randy Belk's fault. I think Randy was above the 18 in that lane, and Alex came up into him. The way that looks to me. That's just my thought on it. But I think Alex, of course, has significantly older tires. Didn't have a lot of control of his race car there. But of course, like we said, that is going to end stage number 1, I do believe. So I guess I don't think we're going to have enough time to really have a commercial. Let's go ahead and grab, I do believe, who is going to be our stage 1 winner. I do believe Brandon Ponsalacqua. All right, we got him up here in the booth. I do believe that is going to conclude stage number 1. Brandon, we got you up here, man. It seems like you got a hot rod under that race car. How's it feeling? I mean, are you glad that caution came out because it kind of limited the amount of tire wear you were to get?
Yeah, no, I was good. No, I hated that caution because anything can happen when cars stay out on older tires, which is a good strategy call for them to see if they can't get a couple stage points or a win. That just makes me nervous because that's where accidents can happen. But luckily we were able to get through, and Matt gave me more than enough room, and I appreciate him doing that. So yeah, it's good to get the stage win for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And what I meant about that caution coming out was that last one just now.
Yes,
prematurely.
Yes.
You probably were happy that caution came out because that means you didn't have to burn your tires up as much for stage. At this. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. No. And well, the problem, if that caution didn't come out, we were thinking about coming down and pitting again. So it actually worked out perfect for us. So.
Yeah, it seems like resource management is going to be a key thing here tonight. It seems like you got some really good pace. How important was it to qualify on the pole?
It's everything here. Track position. I mean, I think that's just the name of the game anywhere we go, but particularly here, it's hard. And getting a setup that works for you is super tough here too. I mean, some cars are great rolling the center, some are super strong on exits. So it's hard to find that balance. And if you start out front, your car always handles it a little better. So I was happy to get the pole position, set my pace, and it worked out. But we got a long race ahead of us. Track temp's going to cool down. It's going to rubber up more. So we're all going to have to make adjustments as the race goes on.
For sure. And I've been, hearing a lot about brake bias being an important deal as well, kind of messing with that as the race goes on, as the run goes on. Is that something you're dealing with?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's tough because there's sometimes where the car is loose on entry, so you want to move the brake bias forward, but sometimes I need more center turn, so I got to put it to the rear. So there's times where every couple laps I got to adjust it back, forward and back. So just keep messing with it to get the balance of the car correct.
All right, well, it seems like the pace car lights have gone out. Who can we shout out before we let you get back to it?
Yeah, my boys at Paradigm. Hopefully we have a good finish today, and thank you guys up in the booth. Appreciate it.
All righty, that was Brandon Ponsalacqua, driver of the 6 machine. Glad we were able to chat with him, and he was able to get a stage win, some more playoff points to give him a little bit more buffer in that points lead. As here we go, coming into 3 and 4, we're getting ready to go green once again as we start stage number 2. This one's going to go to 115. As here we go, green flag is back out as here we are, stage 2. A little bit of a bad start there for Paul Hill, very slow getting back to the gas. I'm almost wondering if he might have been in the wrong gear, Big Al. Of course, Paul Hill now side by side with Randy Mullins as Mullins tries to get to the inside. Can he possibly take this position away? Can he take advantage? Randy Mullins looking incredibly fast here tonight. I know he was kind of struggling over the last few weeks. Has not shown the same speed we saw early in the season. Contact between the 54 and the 26. This could lead to a caution.
I think it is because he is definitely off the pace up into the wall.
And that was Paul Hill. Caution flag is not out. Green flag is still out on the racetrack. As we're going to take a look back at this, you can see the 54 kind of sending it in to 3 and 4, I do believe. And I think this happens in maybe the next set of corners, as we see they're side by side right here. And you see Randy I think Randy might have locked him up on the entry. Like this is one thing that's scary about this track. You know, you hit that brake. If you hit it too late, if you try to dive in and brake late, sometimes the tires lock up and it will send you up the track. And I think that's exactly what happened. I think in a lot of ways, Randy Mullins used Paul as his brake. And Paul, unfortunately, falls all the way back to 20th.
Especially when those tires get heated up like that, Brian, because you remember, brakes don't stop your car, tires stop your car. And once those Goodyears get heated up, sometimes they do just become a lot more slick than they really are, right?
Yeah, and I would not be surprised that there's some pretty good damage on Paul Hill. He's probably got some wheel damage on that race car, and just he had done so great to work his way up into that third place position, up into the top 5. Look at that. Very pronounced on the right front. That is going to be something he's going to have trouble fixing over the rest of this race. But he's still got a long way to go. I mean, 200 laps, a little less than 200 laps. Paul, if he can stay on the lead lap here, he's got opportunities to try to get this fixed. But here comes an attack. Patrick Gitter to the rear end of the 50. As Brandon Paslakwa still in the lead. Patrick Gitter trying to see if he could possibly work his way up into second. I do want to mention Brandon and Josh on a little bit a lot of the field is on older tires at the moment, considering they did elect to stay out. I do want to mention Kenny Powell. He's up in 5th right now. Look at him go, showing some really good pace as well. I mean, speed-wise, Kenny's not looking too bad. Remember Matt DeCiani, though. DeCiani was one of the drivers that, of course, stayed out at the end of stage 1. He has worked his way up to 7th. I think he's on the newest tires in the field right now.
Yeah, the question is he going to be able to capitalize on that, Brian, by actually getting up into some of those higher positions? And he has to get there now, because if he is not taking advantage of his tires, eventually his tires are going to end up in the same state as these guys' tires, and he's going to lose that advantage. So he needs to make up as much ground as he can while his tires are fresher.
No, you're 100% right. At some point the tires are going to kind of plateau, that they're not really going to provide the advantage. As we see, of course, Patrick Gitter has made the pass on Josh Schaffner, now moves up into the second place. Schaffner seems like he's struggling a little bit. 22.8 last time by, something maybe not going right with that race car. Kenny Powell able to put on a pretty good defense here against Randy Mullins, but I'd be a little bit careful, and I know Randy's probably going to send me a message about this, but I'd be careful racing against Randy. Randy's already proven that he will brake a little bit late and accidentally hit you. So I'd be a little bit careful around the 54 here, just because you can tell that car is, I think that car's a little tight. I mean, it seems like his car is a little bit on the tight side. And you don't want someone that's tight underneath you. Because if someone's tight underneath you, they're probably going to get tight up into you. But it looks like Randy is rotating okay right now. But right behind him is Matt DeCiani, who is on those newer tires. He's going to be hungry to get by these two.
Yeah, he needs to make that happen like as soon as possible, Brian, while he still has the advantage. And you can see some drivers starting to kind of fall off a little bit.
Yeah, there's some lap times that are definitely starting to fall off. I mean, 100%. I mean, I got to give some credit to Jason Maines. Jason Maines, I think, started this race, back in 23rd or something like that. He's up to 9th right now. So got to give a lot of credit to the 45. Definitely a good run so far for him. Derek Heitman, who definitely seemed like he was having some handling woes earlier, started towards the front of the field. He's working his way back there. He's in 11th now. Yeah,
Derek just unfortunately kind of got caught up in the moment there, and it cost him a bunch of spots. Almost cost him the top 10. I think it did actually cost him the top 10 during points there for that stage break.
Yeah, that's definitely unfortunate. Of course, he was one of the ones that stayed out on the old tires. It was kind of a desperate gamble, I'd say. Jason Maines, though, has moved his way up into 8th place. He just got by Matthew Cisna. Cisna trying desperately to hold on to positions. Jeffrey Souza all over him right now, as Souza goes to the inside with a quick look. But you can see Cisna not really wanting to open that door. And that's one of the things about it, this racetrack. It's so hard to pass that if you just protect the bottom, then if they have to get underneath you, I mean, that's the only thing about it. I mean, you can be an incredibly difficult person to pass just by protecting the bottom. And you can see there's a train of cars. Not to say that Cisna is slow. He's not at all. He's definitely got some speed in that race car. But you can even see, Sousa seems to close in on the exit, but has to back off. And so here it is. Oh, almost a little bit of a touch there. You can tell Sousa's getting frustrated with the 11 right now.
Yeah, this is that part of the race where tempers do actually start to flare. I mean, we still got a ways to go here. We're not even halfway, but you can best believe these guys are actually getting a little fed up down there.
Let's take a look on board with the 76 if we can. I'd like to see if we could take a look through the cockpit. We haven't really had a chance to really take a whole lot of laps around this place in this cockpit camera. This is a really good view of Sousa kind of attacking the 11. I think this could be the best scene of the crash. This could be a good view of the crash when it happens, possibly. As you can see, that just a battle going on. You see, in the rearview mirror, Brian Johnson's right there behind these guys. So this is definitely getting heated right now, and patience is going to start to wane, and that's when you're going to see guys maybe step a little bit out of that over that line.
Yeah, right now I do believe Cisna he's the choke point. All of these guys are actually trying to get around him. I was watching Matt DeCiani, and he actually struggled getting around Cisna as well. But as this race goes on, I think that is going to be the headlines that we're going to be taking mostly from what we're seeing is this track is hard to pass at, especially when you're dealing with slower traffic.
Yeah, and Cisna's not, I don't think really that much slower. But, I mean, he is at least a tenth slower, and that's enough to really cause these guys to get a little bit frustrated. That's enough.
That's enough to cause these guys to move him out of the way. That's what's going to happen.
Because, I mean, that 10th a lap adds up. That 10th a lap keeps you from catching the leader. And that's.
You don't actually know how much slower he's making the guys behind him because they're actually having to adjust to his driving and his braking point. So the 76, I believe, he's probably getting a little bit frustrated there. I've seen him put the bumper in there a couple of times, but he's going to have to try to be patient and just get around this guy.
We got a battle as well coming together here for third. Josh Schaffner under fire right now from Clayton Hoffman. Hoffman into the outside wall a little bit there, as he's desperate to try to pass the 50. That's one thing that's difficult about this track. I mean, there is one lane. There's one groove around this racetrack. Iowa is kind of a multi-groove track. You can kind of make the top and the bottom work. Richmond is more of a one-groove track because of how flat it is. You want to run the bottom for the most part. And when you try to pass someone, you're having to step out of the comfort zone. And that's exactly what Clayton just did.
Jose Acosta kind of mixed it up a little bit with Greg Wachis. He caused Greg to just kind of spin it out. Carlson's not out. I think he's still going to either take a tow or get it going. But I was just sitting there watching, and I was like, man, Jose's really he's trying to say what's up.
Yeah, we're watching Greg Wachinski right here in the 5 machine. No caution comes out. Looks like the car doesn't have damage. I have to take a look at it here. But you can see Jose just getting tight on the door of the 5, kind of using him to slow down. And Greg just gets loose.
Well, the 83 made some incidental contact with the 5, and I think that's what actually sent the 5 down the pipe.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Well, no, see, I think Greg was loose before the 83 hit him. You could tell. Greg got back to the throttle and started turning down the track, and of course, probably had to get out of the gas to avoid spinning it. But Tim definitely finished him off. Definitely. But, I mean, I don't think Wortman could have done anything really different there. And it's unfortunate for Greg. I mean, Greg was he got used as a wall, essentially, by Jose there.
But this was another one of those incidents that actually, kind of occurred due to the stack-up. Wachinski was right at the end of that group right there, somewhere behind Brian Johnson. And it really cost him positions. It cost him.
Yeah, and the race is still heating up in that same area. Of course, Matthew Cisna has fallen back to 13th, but Jason Maines, he's kind of now acting as that choke point now. I mean, Jeffrey Sousa is right there with Heitman all over his rear end, Brian Johnson. I mean, so there is still a lot of pressure that is mounting that is leading to more intense racing.
Yeah, we still have a lot of laps to go here in this stage. So we're still going to have an entire another round of crappy tires coming up here too, Brian.
Oh, yeah. They're just going to continue to get worse and worse. And, you know, we're already at a second of fall off right now. So the tires are getting terrible right now. These guys are probably – Richmond on old tires is not fun. It's just, you know, the car is either really, really loose or it's really, really tight. And so a lot of these guys are probably not liking that. In a lot of ways,
if you remember, it was around 42 laps into the stint where we really started to see cars struggle, and shortly after that, we had a caution.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing right there cars struggling against each other. I mean, you can see Heitman is not liking the way his car's handling, and it makes that really hard to pass. I mean, you can see the 45, I should say, of Jason Maines. He's just holding that higher lane, and Derek's having a tough time really getting the power down on exit. Ooh, they're getting so close to beating and banging there. I mean, they did touch, I think, a lap ago. And this is, of course, allowing Brian Johnson to catch up. See, side by side at Richmond does not work very well. You're going to slow down. And there it is. He does get by finally. I do want to mention, though, we have had Patrick Gitter losing a bunch of spots. Gitter now back to 5th place. He just got passed by Josh Schaffner, Clayton Hoffman, and Matt DeCiani. So I'm not sure exactly. I don't know if we can rewind the clock back and see exactly what is going on with Gitter. Because it seems like did he just have a handling condition that kind of – because all of a sudden he just gave up a lot of positions. So you see right here, he's coming off of turn 4. Oh, yep, right there. He gets loose, hits the wall, and it just seems like the car just – I almost think that was a push-loose scenario. I think he started getting tight, and the car just broke loose because it was so tight. And I know a lot of people probably in the audience are like, what are you talking about, Brian? It is a thing that a lot of racers know about. It's called push loose. It's a push loose condition to where your car will get so tight that it all of a sudden will break loose. It's something that it does happen.
I think Brian Johnson just experienced a little bit of that. His car just broke a little bit loose from him. He saved it. He's still going, but yeah, definitely going to lose a couple positions on that one. And I'm telling you, this is the tires. They're starting to experience that tire wear.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And you know, and like I said, I think majority of these race cars are probably wearing tight. I think the majority of these cars are experiencing a very, very tight condition. And that's where we were talking about with Brandon about messing with the brake bias. That's where that comes into play, Big Al. You mess with that brake bias, you can go from being really tight to kind of being a little bit looser, to be able to kind of have a little bit better entry, to kind of to set yourself up for the rest of the corner if you kind of use that brake bias as a tool. And some drivers don't do that a whole lot, including me. But I'll tell you, I'm seeing some clear favorites right now, though, Big Al. I'm seeing some clear favorites. I think Brandon Pasalakwa, Josh Schaffner, Clayton Hoffman. These guys seem to have very good pace on the long run. They are the fastest cars on the track right now.
I'm seeing Brandon Pasalakwa, and the 6 car.
Yep. There's another 6 car. He definitely seems like he's got the long run speed right now. Another driver I do got to mention, though, that seems to have gotten his long run under control is Derek Heitman. Derek, last couple laps, has been the fastest car on the track, 23.3 last time by, and he has been driving his way up to now 7th, and he's closing in on Kenny Powell's back door.
It looked like Clayton was also hanging out in the 23.3s, but those were the only 2, Brian. I think everybody else is 23.4, so they're definitely starting to feel the pain here a little bit, and we still got just under 20 laps to go in this stage.
Yeah. this is not looking good for some drivers. Some drivers, I think the alarm bells are ringing in their ears right now saying that, man, we're in trouble, especially for stage 3, right? I mean, we're in trouble. I mean, they're going to have to, there's going to be at least some sort of strategy in stage 3 where some guys are going to be probably trying to split that stage in half. Some guys, Big Al, it might be within the realm of possibility. We might see 2 stops in stage 3 just because of how much tire fall off we're seeing.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if they're going to actually change 4 2s, probably maybe 2 sets of rights, you think?
Well, one thing that's crazy though, Big Al, and this sounds crazy, we usually will see the rights wear more than the front or the lefts, right? I know in the races I have run, when I looked at the tire wear, my left front wore more than my right front, which is mind-blowing in a lot of ways because usually the rights wear more than the lefts. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Short tracks though, where that's well, there are a few short tracks where that is the exception, though, right?
Yeah, and I think Richmond is one of them. I mean, it's a flat track, so usually at a track with more banking, you're going to wear the rights more. But at this track, it seems like the banking is so less. It's such a flat track that that's just not the case. As the fall off is just continuing to increase here, 23.5s, 23.6s from a lot of these drivers. It is going to come down to a long run. That's going to be whoever still has a functional race car is going to be the one that wins this race. I think. Looking at the lap times right now, and we still have 16 laps to go.
Yeah, the leader is actually kind of caught up to traffic right now. We're going to see how Brandon actually fares through this. Remember, these guys don't have to give him anything, and this is a very hard track to unlap yourself, especially when you got multiple cars that are already a lap down.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. I mean, this is going to be very, very difficult for Brandon as well. I mean, Brandon has had clean air on that nose this entire run, and when we talk about the tire wear, I mean, his tire wear has probably been better than everybody else's. But now that he's in this dirty air, he's going to start experiencing things he probably hasn't experienced. As they're contacting right in front of him, Nick King gets loose after contact with Randy Belk, goes down the track. I mean, imagine my heart would be pounding if I was sitting in the Six Machines car right now as he just gets past Randy Belk.
And these guys that he's battling with, they're on the tail end of the lead lap, which means their equipment is probably struggling already. We saw Greg Wachinski actually take a ride through the infield, so we know what his status is. Now, Josh Schaffner has to try to come up, catch these guys, and duplicate what Brandon Pasalacqua just did. To his advantage, though, at least they're not racing, in a group of 3, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I just got to give a ton of credit to Paradigm. They seem like they have brought some fast race cars here to Richmond. I mean, Brandon and Josh, 1-2 right now. We got to give Josh a lot of credit. Josh, I got to be honest, this season has not impressed me. But at the Chicago Street Course, he was fast. At Pocono, he was fast. I mean, he has definitely been turning over a little bit of a new leaf this season, or should I say later in this season. Of course, we know Josh is a fast driver. We know that Corn Man's quick. But it just seemed like maybe with the new competition showing up, maybe he was lacking the same pace as those other guys. But you look right now, Josh is in the driver's seat.
Caution's out, the three's around. Nate King right there going into the corner. He's still getting contacted.
Yeah, I think that was Patrick Gitter. And I think that was Gitter that just got into him there after the fact there. So we're going to take a look at this. Ooh, this is going to be bad for, I think, Nick King and also possibly whoever hit him. I think that was Gitter. As you can see, King trying to pass Randy Belk. This is a battle for position. And, it looks like King's fine right here. I think Belk maybe. Yep, Belk gets him. Oh, man, Randy, come on. So you see, King had got the pass completed, but Belk did not want to get past. Belk did not want to get past there.
And then it finishes them off.
Yeah, and unfortunately, you see Randy just overdrove the entry to the corner and came up into the 3. And this is what I'm talking about. Look at Patrick Gitter. That might have just took Patrick out of this race. That is a big hit.
Indeed it did.
You see right here, I mean, depending on where he hit here, this could have broken a toe link. This could have done something. Oh, look at that. That is not a fun hit right there.
Gitter has he has repairs required. Now this also throws another screwball into the pit strategy because you got some drivers right now that have pit 3 times. That's 3 sets of tires that are gone, and they're really going to be, you stretching it at that point.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I mean, you see Derek Heitman, he has stayed out. Kenny Powell electing to stay out. Jose Acosta has stayed out. Brandon Pasalacqua, I do believe, pitted. Wachinski stayed out. Greg is in 6th. So Greg was so far back, he was getting ready to go a lap down. I mean, Brandon was on Greg's keister before that caution came out, and Greg decides to stay out. Well, no, I think Greg is coming down pit road. My mistake. He decides to come down pit road.
I think Greg got passed, so Greg was a lap down, which means now he's on his pit window now, right?
Yeah. But he is back on the lead lap. He is on the lead lap here. So he did get saved by the bell in a lot of ways. But now we're going to have, I do believe, just I do believe it's going to be about a 6-lap shootout, maybe 7-lap shootout. Very short race to the end of stage 2. And man, I got to be honest, this is looking like a. Go ahead.
Lead 3 cars are going to be on 59, 67, 59. So once this goes green, that 59 looks more like a 61, 69, 61, right?
That's rough. That is, I mean, when we saw it at stage 1, that was 42 laps, right? This is 60 laps. I mean, this is going to be hard to watch. I got to be honest, Big Al, this race has been brutal. I mean, like, we haven't seen a whole lot of cautions based on incidences, but this has been a marathon. This has been I mean, just brutal. I think it's the best way to describe this race. I don't think these guys are having a whole lot of fun behind the wheels of these race cars. I feel like they're having a tough time driving these cars. This is a very physical racetrack. You got to get up on the wheel. You got to press that brake. And you got to, Big Out, this is something we haven't even talked about yet. You have to shift around this racetrack. This is not a track where you're just sitting in one gear. You're shifting into turn, or you're shifting on the front stretch.
Looks like we still have Nick King that has damage that's being repaired. He's in pit row. Both Patrick Gitter and Clayton Hoffman have departed the arena.
Oh, man, what happened with Clayton? Did he get involved in that as well that we didn't see?
Not certain exactly what happened to the 92. Just know that they're packing it up.
And the green flag is back out as we get ready to complete stage number 2. Derek Heitman, who's on old tires. And we're going to see these old tires. Look at that. Brandon Pasalacqua is going to take him up top 3 wide. And so we're going to possibly see some accidents. Josh Jobner taking advantage of the traffic. He might take the lead here in the stage win as a result, as he's now battling with Jose Acosta. Matt DeCiani taking advantage as well. I mean, this restart has absolutely hurt Brandon Pasalacqua. He just did not
figure out. He went low, he went high. He was trying to figure out how he could just get some daylight on that nose, Brian. But it seems like everywhere he stuck it got smacked. So with the result of that, you got Derek Heitman, who has 63 laps on his tires right now, and he's leading this thing on around. And looks like we got about 10 to go here at the line.
And we got a new leader, Josh Schaffner, the 50 machine, up to the lead on the newer tires. But here comes Pasalacqua. Here comes Matt DeCiani.
All's dropped back. He's off the pace.
Well, yeah, he's on 60-lap old tires.
Heitman's going to get in where he fits in.
I'm surprised Heitman's holding on as well as he is right now, to be completely honest with you. As we come now to, I do believe, 2 laps to go in stage number 2. Josh Schaffner looking like the favorite right now, as we got DeCiani, though, closing in Can DeCiani close this gap in 2 laps?
Can Heitman hold on to his position? I'm looking
I don't
at
think
these
he
guys,
can.
man.
I don't think he can.
Jose is right there he's in the catbird seat, hoping that he can maintain and get a stage point maybe he can. Heitman definitely has a chance to get him a stage point out of this too.
Yeah, no, he definitely does, and he's going to save a set. That's important, saving a set of tires. As we're now the white flag for stage number 2. Josh Schaffner in the lead right now, 0.3 of a second on Matt DeCiani. He's going to come out of turn 3, and he is going to win stage number 2. The Corn Man strikes at Richmond. Matt DeCiani, 2nd place. Brandon Passalacqua, 3rd. Jeffrey Souza working his way up to 4th. Randy Mullins, 5th. Brian Johnson, 6th. Jason Main, 7th. Derek Heitman barely holds on and finishes 8th. Tim Wortman Jr., 9th. And Matthew Cisna rounds out the top 10. With that, we're going to take a brief step away. We'll come back and we'll talk to the Corn Man, John Schaffner.
Cardiology, I don't have the heart. Pulmonary doctor, no cigar. I can't diagnose a simple cold or flu, but if your engine's got a cough, I know what to do. Give it 6 of these and wash it down with this. A new air filter ought to help it catch its breath. Napa know-how. Napa know-how.
Welcome back to the ISCA Super Cup Series. Of course, we just saw a thrilling conclusion to stage number 2. Now, I do believe they just finished their green flag or their yellow flag pit stops here, and we're getting ready to start stage 3. We're going to go ahead and bring up Josh Schaffner, and Big Al's going to be standing by. Big Al, you have the floor.
Josh Schaffner, Big Al up in the booth. Congratulations on your stage 2 victory.
Yeah, thanks, Al. I think that's my first one of the season. Kind of hard to believe it took this long, but yeah, it's great to get a stage win and good stage points and a first playoff point of the year. So yeah, excited about that.
You're looking pretty good up there, boss. So let me ask you this: you guys feeling pretty good with your setup that you got here tonight? Obviously.
Yeah, feeling good about it. Brandon and I are both running something pretty different. Randy kind of worked on my setup and made some changes that I liked, and so I'm kind of running that and really enjoying it. I might lack a little bit of speed, maybe, kind of mid-early run, but seem to got some good long run pace overall. And yeah, track's cooling off, grip's picking up, and just got to take care of tires and manage this green flag pit stop when the time comes, and we'll see what we got.
So is it going to be more of a longer run? Do you think it's going to win this thing for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's still going to be important. We're going to have to run quite a few laps here. Even if we split it, we're going to have to run, outwards of, 60 laps, which that's a long run here in all things considered, and the fall off even at 60 is well over a second. So it's going to be important to manage the tires, even though we're going to split this run up. And the big risk here is just kind of picking and choosing when we're going to pit. And it's easy here with old tires and then fresh tires, through a cycle to get a caution. And there's a chance that if something happens during the cycle, some of us could get cycled out. You just never know. But we'll just hope we pick the right time and it all works out for us.
Well, definitely looking like you're putting down a solid performance down there tonight, both you and Brandon. Those Paradigm cars are definitely starting to shine. Did you guys work together a lot as a group this week, putting on laps?
Yeah, we worked a little bit as a group. I wasn't able to join the guys. We were a little bit busy with work, but we all ran some laps and some practice sessions. I ran some A-Opens. We shared a lot of information, data, just a lot of Discord chatter about what we need to do to get better and what the line is. And the setup here is a big deal, but you just got to be consistent and make sure you take care of your stuff. And you just can't overdrive here. If you overdrive, you'll pay a penalty, and that's what we've been all trying to work on together as a group.
Let's try to get you out of here, boss. Who you shouting out for your stage 2 victory?
Oh, I want to thank Kenny Powell, ISCA, you guys up in the booth, Big Al and Brian, and the production crew that do a great job every week, and obviously just all my teammates at Paradigm Motorsports. Appreciate all their support this week.
Looking good, boss. Good luck to you. Hopefully we'll see you at the end of this thing.
Alrighty, that was Josh Schaffner, driver of the 50 machine. The Corn Man doing a really good job. It seems like the Corn is powering that race car here tonight. As every year through the Geico restart zone, green flag is out for stage number 3. Jeffrey Souza, who's on about 13 lap old tires right now. That could very much affect his speed. As you clearly can see, Matt DeCiani already wrapping around the top, trying to get this lead. Now, DeCiani always good at these style of racetracks.
So the short bus is on 16 lap old tires right now.
It does appear to be the case. He's kind of taking a little bit of a gamble for track position. Very interesting to see the Souza Media machine doing that. As you could tell, I mean, he is a little off the pace when it comes to it, but he is managing to hold strong for now. But I think DeCiani, it's only a matter of time. DeCiani has gotten the pass.
Yeah, and the question then is how far back does the 96 car actually fall back into the fray?
What I think Souza is hoping for is I think that he hopes that he is able to at least stay up into the top 5 and then have a caution where everybody comes down and takes tires, and that kind of resets the deck a little bit, right? Because if it, at least that would make him to where he gains track position. And I think that's what he's looking for.
That's a bold move, Cotton.
It is. It's a gamble. But, I mean, that's why, we're racing. These guys are going to do everything they can to get positions. As Kenny Powell, of course, in the midst of a battle right now, as I do believe Paul Hill. That's a name I didn't think we would see a whole lot of because of the damage he had earlier. He is trying to work his way back forward. He's in 14th right now.
Yeah, these guys are actually we're halfway through this thing, but these guys are really actually putting pressure on themselves here. So this is not an easy Sunday drive. It's pretty hot down there in since it's 19 still struggles as it comes across start-finish line.
Yeah, no, I mean, we got to think as well the conditions of the track have changed. The lights are out, or on here, I should say, at Richmond. We started this race in the afternoon where it was kind of a little bit hotter on the track surface. Let's take a look at that. Let's see, what exactly are we looking at right now, track temp-wise? And, of course, looking at 90. Go ahead, Bear. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it's just 90 degrees on the asphalt right now. So it has cooled down considerably. But Matt DeCiani in control right now. Josh Schaffner has gotten clear of Jeffrey Souza, as well as Brandon Passalacqua. He's now sitting in the third place position.
And like you said, this is the first time Brandon's actually had to experience that dirty air, and it is having an adverse effect on his performance as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I think that restart that we saw earlier with Brandon, not like you said, he was trying to find clean air. He was trying to find daylight. He was trying to get past all those guys on old tires, and Josh and was able to kind of take advantage and had cleaner real estate to get through. That hurt Brandon a lot. But here comes Brandon now to the inside. He's trying to get that track position back. And I think Brandon does have one of the fastest cars here. So I don't think you're going to be able to hold this guy back. I think Brandon's going to eventually get back up to Matt and possibly challenge him. We'll see how this works, though. I mean, Matt with clean air, DeCiani with clean air, that's a tough one to beat. I mean, we also got to keep in mind that DeCiani probably feels like one got away from him at the Chicago street course. He's wanting to get back to victory lane here tonight.
And no better time than tonight to actually go ahead and lock in a win,
Yeah, I mean, and we got to keep in mind that DeCiani, he plays like this. I mean, a lot of times you'll see DeCiani not be a factor early in the race, and then he'll just do something and he'll show up. And they'll be like, where did he come from? And he's winning the race. So, I mean, that's just a kind of a DeCiani move. I mean, this guy is a champion level caliber driver. I think he is actually a champion, like in this series. So I mean, you know, he knows what it takes to get a race win, especially at tracks like this. I mean, he's a technical driver, a very technical driver, knows his way around road courses. And if you're good at a road course, you're going to be good at a track like Richmond. Richmond is a track that is heavy on the brakes, very technical. Got these long sweeping corners, which in a lot of ways is reminiscent of what you see at like the carousel at you know, road course track. Got a battle though, 9th place, Jose Acosta and Matthew Cisna fighting right now. Cisna seems like he's gotten that car working a little bit better than it was earlier. But here comes Paul Hill. Hill banging on the back door of the top 10. Got to give this guy a lot of credit. I guarantee you that Paul has had his crew working on that car for the last, I mean, every caution we've had, I guarantee you Hill has been going down pit road to get them to work on that thing. Because I remember the shot that Kobe showed us of that right front. I'm wondering how that right front looks now. I mean, did they take the hammers out and beat that thing into shape? And it looks like they did. I mean, it does not look near as bad. I'd say they got that thing working pretty good now.
I agree. 113 laps to go left in this competition. I think we've had a grand total of maybe 3 lead changes. 3 different leaders, that being Matt DeCiani, Josh Schaffner, and Brandon Pasalacqua. Unless I missed one.
Well, Derek Heitman was the leader, but I don't think he stayed there very long, considering he was on old tires. But yeah, no, I think you nailed it. You got it. But let's take a look at the top 10. We'll run down through them right quick. Matt DeCiani is our leader. He's got about a 1.5 second gap on Brandon Pasalacqua, who's in 2nd place. Josh Schaffner, he's sitting in the 3rd place position. Jeffrey Souza, he's actually hanging on very well in 4th. Randy Mullins, he's in 5th. Brian Johnson sits in 6th place. Jason Maines, he's the biggest mover, I do believe, tonight. He's in 7th. Derek Heitman, he's in 8th. Jose Acosta, actually, Jason and Derek fighting right now for position. Jose is in 9th, and Paul Hill is in 10th. Well, let's watch this battle going on between Derek and Jason. It's just so hard to pass. You can clearly see that. I mean, Derek trying everything he can to get the advantage, but it's just so difficult. I mean, one way I think that you describe how it is to pass on the bottom at many tracks like this is, I think, is the best way to describe it. You have to bend the car, to bend the corner, right? I mean, I love the way you always say that, Big Al. When you say bend, you have to bend it.
Yeah, you definitely, in your mind, you have to bend it.
Like, I mean, because, you know, usually when you're running a normal line at a track like this, you're kind of able to wide arc. You can't do that, though, when you're trying to pass on the bottom here. So, in a way, you have to... Go ahead.
I've been watching the interval between Pasalacqua and DeCiani, and DeCiani's keeping him a solid 1.5. It was down to 1.3, but now it's actually increased to 1.5, 1.6. So he's actually maintaining his lead and increasing it.
And I would not be surprised to hear that Matt is probably watching that interval, that he is keeping an eye on that interval, and he wants to keep it at exactly where he's got it at right now. I mean, Matt is a guy that is very analytical, very methodical in the things that he does. He wants to keep that lead at a certain distance because... So, you know, you talk about he was at 1.3. We probably saw that 1.3. He was like, oh, no. I need to lengthen that out a little bit. And I wouldn't be surprised that he also maybe plays a little bit of carrot on the stick with Brandon, trying to get Brandon to drive a little harder, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Because we've seen that happen before, not just against Brandon, but some of these guys like Clayton Hoffman or Patrick Gitter, they'll get out front and especially Clayton, they'll dangle that carrot, if you will, saying, hey, come on, man, you can catch me. You can catch me.
Yeah, just trying to get you to fall for it. You know, like, but really they're just setting a trap for you to burn your stuff up so you can't catch them. So yeah, no, I mean, and that's just the level of talent we got in this series. I mean, these guys, some of the drivers we have in this series are almost pro. Like you would think that they probably could be good enough to be a pro level driver. Like they're just that fast. And sometimes when you're that good, you play games. Like, you know, you try to, you know, a lot of times it's chess at 130 or 140 mile an hour.
Yeah, I tell you what, a lot of these guys are definitely going to be tired tonight once this thing is over. It's been a heavyweight fight down here tonight and under these lights, Brian. That's what we've seen. And these guys are still far from over as we got just over 100 laps remaining in this thing.
And it's been physical. It has been such a physical race. I mean, these guys, yeah, I think you're 100% right. I think these guys are going to be sore. I think that they're going to be hard. You know, whoever we talk to at the end of this race, you know, even if they win it, I don't think they're going to sound super, super duper excited. I think they're going to be like, oh, man, I need to lay down. Like, because, I mean, this is a track that really is physical. You have to physically drive this car. You have to really just push with everything you can as Paul Hill makes a big move on the 42 of Jose Acosta. And Paul makes the pass stick up to now 9th, chasing down Jason Maines. What a recovery. Can we give this 26 some credit right quick? What a recovery from this driver. I mean, we saw him get, who turned him earlier in the race? I think it was Randy Mullins. Randy Mullins kind of, you know, drove it in deep, hit Paul, sent him all the way to outside of the top 20. No caution came out to save Paul. Paul managed to stay on the lead lap, and he has fixed the damage and is now back up into the top 10. Guy deserves a lot of credit. This guy, ever since he hit the scene in this series, has just been... He's been checking off boxes right now. I mean, you know, getting that win at the Chicago Street Course, that's a huge win that Paul was able to earn. And I think he's not done. I don't think this guy is going to be done. I think that he's going to win other races. But Matt DeCiani is in control of this one. Speaking of that gap, you talked about it. The gap has decreased.
I was around 1.2 seconds, so I mean, Brandon's woke up. He must have been listening and said, "Oh yeah, Big Al, I got something for you." And now he is literally like a hound dog on the haunches of that one car.
That he is. And looking at lap times right now, these guys have fallen off about a second. And Matt is one that's falling off more than others right now. So I don't know if Matt's been pushing it, but clearly Matt DeCiani's struggling.
Yeah, he's been pacing it, Brian, and that's the problem. If you don't have anybody right there with you to keep you honest, you do run the risk of burning your stuff up, especially if you're not keeping consistent lap time. So we'll see exactly how much that's going to affect him and if he'll actually be able to keep Brandon at bay.
So you see Brian Johnson. He's one that's struggling right now. As here comes Derek Heitman. Heitman's going to challenge for fourth. He's going to make the pass. Heitman up to fourth. Whatever was going wrong with Heitman's car earlier in this race, I think he solved it. I don't think Heitman is struggling near as much as he did earlier. I think they made adjustments to that race car. They got that thing working good.
I think they changed the tires.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, but I think they changed something else. Or maybe the conditions of the track have grown, or his car has grown to like the conditions of the track. Maybe he was overdriving it. I mean, there could be a number of things that could have explained why Heitman was looking so bad earlier in this race. But now he's looking faster than ever. Last lap, he was the fastest car on the track. As he now is going to be trying to catch up to John Schaffner. But he's got about 2.2 seconds to get up there to Schaffner. As we see this battle, Randy Mullins going to try to get by, I do believe, Jeffrey Souza. Paul Hill continuing to climb through this field. He's up to 8th. He's gotten by Jason Maines, and he's starting to catch Jeffrey Souza. I'll tell you what, the 26 is coming.
He is on his way.
He definitely is. Pasalacqua continuing to close in on Matt DeCiani. I do want to mention as well, I do believe we're over 40 laps into this run now, 43 I do believe into this run, and we still have 90 laps to go in this race. Now Josh said a number that I thought was interesting. He said 60 was about where they would run. Now, to be honest, I don't think 60 is going to be the number. I think it's going to be more closer to 70 laps on a run, because these guys are already 40-something laps into this run. I think if we add about 20 more, so yeah, maybe around 65. I think that's the number probably.
Closer, yeah, it'll be closer to 75, 65 to 70.
And that is an interesting thing to think about, is, of course, green flag stops. When do you pit? I mean, there is some leeway. Do you go a little longer? Get those newer tires later in the run so you can kind of abuse them a little bit more? As you can see, DeCiani is struggling, and Brandon is just very quickly catching the back end of the one machine. A little hit on the wall. Yeah, DeCiani, I'm hearing the jaws theme from our producer. It is clear that Brandon is catching the one. I'm wondering what's going on with DeCiani. I think he might be suffering from a tight condition. Something is causing. Yeah.
I think he just burned his. I think he burned up his equipment. I mean, he was out front for a long time, and he really didn't have anybody to compare himself to except for his lap times. And I think he just might have ran it a little bit too hard, too long. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I think that explains it. He's going to be kicking himself over that, because here comes Brandon. But, I mean, I know Matt's just not going to just let him go. I know that. Brandon's going to have to earn this pass. But I just got to... Brandon is just... He's been so good this season. Seasons past, we've seen Brandon be consistent, but I just don't think we've seen him be this consistent. On my book, in my book right now, Big Al, he is championship favorite. I think Brandon is my championship favorite because of the way he's been also winning races. I mean, we've seen him in the past show really consistent pace, but I think this is the best that we've ever seen Brandon perform in a season.
Well, this is interesting. As I sit here and look at my book of books, it appears that Mr. DeCiani only took 2 tires on that last stop.
Whoa! Now, that is something.
It's an exact fact.
And that could be exactly why we're seeing his performance start to drop off here.
I think maybe that was a test run, or because barring another caution, he is not going to have time to get 4 tires under a green flag stop.
But you know what's really interesting though is that if any of these other drivers were paying attention to that, they might realize that, hey, that is an option. Because I mean, he has managed to run 50 laps on a 2-tire stop. I mean, I'd say it worked in a way. I mean, he led like 50 laps right there, and we didn't even know that he had took 2 tires. I mean, it was not evident. So if, like, let's say we get a 30-lap run, a 40-lap run, 2 tires can work. Clearly, it can work.
Yeah, it'll be the difference coming off the pits for sure. So I'm thinking that the drivers look at this thing is, if they have to stop under green, it's a 2-tire stop. But I think DeCiani's got it figured out that if he has to stop under green, he takes 2. If it's a caution, he takes 2.
I don't agree. I think that's the only reason he took that 2-tire stop was because he was under caution and he wanted to get a track position. I think under green, everybody's taking 4. Now, I could be wrong, but I just feel like everybody's going to... It's just so much... Like I said before, Big Al, keep in mind, when I did A Opens, now I know I'm not the authority when it comes to racing, but whenever I did racing, my lefts were wearing more than my rights. Both tires were wearing, pretty significantly. So I just feel like I just don't think it's going to be, especially when you got to do another 60 laps. I couldn't imagine the strain that would put on the tire the sets you didn't change. You know.
Yeah, I
can't imagine.
But it's still an option for those who took it for. It might not be an option anymore for DeCiani, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I don't know. I mean, I think it definitely what makes it an option for me is if we see a sudden caution, and maybe you're 20 laps into your run, 30 laps into your run, and you're like, man, I got to come down pit road, but I don't want to spend a lot of time on pit road. Throw 2 tires on that bad boy and let her go. I think that could very well win you the race.
Yeah, I think you're going to see green flag pit stops here within the next 10.
Very soon.
My guess is they're coming in on or at about lap 65.
No, I think 10 laps is exactly right. I think we're getting ready to see pit stops in 10 laps. Low underway. Derek Heitman has gotten the pass completed on Josh Schaffner. He moves up to the 3rd place position, and Derek's catching up quickly to DeCiani. And DeCiani has fallen off a cliff when it comes to his lap times. 23.9 right now. He's almost in the 24-second range. He has fallen off a 1.5 seconds. And this is why I say that 2-tire stops. You don't want to do that under green, because I just feel like that you look at the fall. I mean, it just would not work, but it would definitely work on a 30-lap run or a 50-lap run. Somewhere in that, I think you could make that happen. Brian Johnson is showing some pretty good pace. Paul Hill, you believe, battling with Jose.
All right, green flag pit stops have started. The 11th car is down now. Jay Hone came down right before that. He's getting back onto the track. Now we got the 11 of Matthew Cisna. Hone did take 4 tires.
I also do want to mention that Jay is 6 laps down, so not really going to be a factor here when it comes to the race for the win. But Matthew Cisna, he is now a lap down. He had just stopped in his box, and he is definitely going to be taking a stop here. At the moment, 16 drivers on the lead lap. As Brandon Pasalacqua, your leader, got about a 1.5 second gap on Heitman. Now, Heitman is the best car on the long run right now, running 23.5 second laps. He doesn't seem to be falling off much more than this. Seems like he definitely has that car figured out. I will say, next... Go ahead.
That's going to be key, because that's the sweet spot. As long as he can keep running consistent 23.5s, Brian, he's going to be at least 0.2 of a second faster than anybody that's around him. So we'll be watching that.
He's the fastest car on the track at the moment. Now, what's interesting is the second fastest car, or one of the other faster cars, is Jose Acosta. Jose looking pretty good on the long run. Paul Hill coming to pit road. Well, no, Paul just had an issue. Nope, I thought he was coming to pit road. I think Paul, maybe the handling starting to, maybe that damage isn't completely fixed, because he just fell back to 11th. A 25-second lap, which is very, very slow. Here comes Hill to pit road now. So Paul Hill making his way on to pit road. Green flag pit stops continue here.
You got the 33 of Belk. He's down right now also.
So we got a lot of guys starting to come down. I think it's going to get really busy here probably the next 3 laps.
Yeah, we're right
as the snakes eating his tail, Randy Drumhiller, I should say, now going a lap down. As traffic is becoming an issue. Tim Wortman Jr. I do believe Wortman has come down pit road. He's now 2 laps down. Now, it seems like what I'm seeing here is the guys that have pitted, I think are maybe going 2 laps down. I think you'd be lucky to go 1 lap down.
Yeah, no one's doing it on one with 4 tires. If you're taking 4 tires, it's going to be a 2-lap stop.
Well, I don't know. I mean, Paul Hill came down pit road and only went 1 lap down. He is still only 1 lap down, and he took 4. So, I don't know. I think here comes Derek Heitman, though. The Team Conti guys, both on the same strategy. Let's keep an eye on what do they do? Do they take 4? Do they take 2?
Coming down.
Sanchez is pretty good on the long run, it seemed to be.
Aqua down, Schaffner down.
So it seems like everybody coming down pit road here exactly with 65 laps to go.
That's what we called it.
Of course, Brian Johnson at the moment is the leader. Randy Mullins sits in second. Jose Acosta is in third. And so I think I got to be honest, I feel like Brian and Randy are kind of hoping that maybe some sort of caution comes out, like to kind of, I think this is gambling. I think these guys are gambling. Got to be honest, I think these guys are gambling.
Everybody's taking 4. That is the thing.
Battle, though, for the race lead possibly is or for the net lead, Brandon Pasalacqua and Derek Heitman.
Oh, yeah. Roger, I call lap 65 is what I call. You call 65 to go, so congrats to you.
Oh, it's not a competition, but yeah, I mean, they're essentially splitting it in half. I think we both kind of called that same thing, that they would split it in half. As Brandon, though, has Derek Heitman hot on his heels at the moment. This is, I think, what's going to be the race for the lead. I think this is the race for the win right here if it stays green. They do have a lot of traffic ahead of them. You can see Alexander Carr. You see Jason Maines. That traffic could possibly hurt these two. Whoa, and there goes Brandon Pasalacqua down into the grass.
No
and this is going
caution.
to change everything. No caution. As
Still no
Pasalacqua,
caution.
Yeah, this is not going to cause a caution.
He's taking one for the team right there, boys.
Oh, my. Let's see exactly what happened to Brandon. Did he just lose it? Was this something to do with other traffic? As we see
Flash
Brandon.
tires now. The tires are
Now, this is contact. This was contact.
There it is.
Jason Maines, I do believe, trying to maybe avoid the wall. Maybe he just got loose, comes down into the 6. And Brandon, who had a legit shot for the win here, has now went back to 13th.
Yeah, barring
And I know, man,
barring some
You gotta
late race caution, he said that's a big hole to dig out of.
oh, that is a big hole to dig out of. And that is so unfortunate considering Brandon started this race on the pole, won stage 1, and I got to be honest, I think that it was between him and Derek Heitman. And now that Derek has the lead, I don't think anybody's going to be able to take it from him. You got to know that Brandon is probably just so frustrated right now. I mean, how he could taste that checkered flag. And I know that Jason has got to be not happy with that either. I mean, he didn't want to wreck someone that was going for the win.
Wonder if that's ever happened before.
Probably not. It's got to be the first time ever, right? But while we have a little bit of a lull in the action, I think now's a good time. Let's take a brief step away. We'll pay some attention to our sponsors. We'll come back as we're coming up to 50 laps to go.
You went, you served, and forged the relationships that only being baptized in the fire of combat can develop. At FallInVeteran.com, we understand the unique bond that veterans share. That's why we've created a platform where you can connect, share experiences, and build lifelong friendships with fellow veterans. Signing up is easy. Simply visit www.fall-in-veteran.com and create your profile. Customize it to reflect your military service, interests, and hobbies. FallInVeteran.com is more than just an online community. It's a support network where you can find resources, advice, and encouragement from those who understand what you've been through. Whether you're looking for camaraderie, mentorship, or simply a place to share your stories, fallinveteran.com has it all. Join thousands of veterans who have already found their tribe and start connecting today. fallinveteran.com. Come join us and experience the power of community. Sign up now at www.fall-in-veteran.com.
Cardiology, I don't have the heart. Pulmonary doctor, no cigar. I can't diagnose a simple cold or flu, but if your engine's got a cough, I know what to do. Give it 6 of these and wash it down with this. A new air filter ought to help it catch its breath. Napa know-how. Napa know-how.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA Super Cup Series here at Richmond Raceway. Of course, this has been an exciting race, to say the least. We've already done 200 laps here. We're on that lap 204, as Randy Mullins is on like 80-something lap old tires right now, still out here. I'll tell you, this is a desperation call if I've ever seen one. He is hoping that a caution is going to come out that will allow him to possibly, pop down pit road, grab a set of tires, and maybe win this race. I mean, I think it could work for Randy. We'll see, but it is the probability is not there for him right now. Derek Heitman, though, he is definitely, I think, the man to beat at the moment. Looks like he's got the best long-run pace, and he is in position in second place. And he's running down Randy. Even if Randy can make it to the end of this race on fuel, it does not matter. Derek is going to catch him and probably pass him. Next driver in line is Matt DeCiani, who's about 2 seconds back from Heitman right now. Josh Shocker sits fourth. If you're just joining us, Brandon Pasalacqua was essentially the dominant driver of the night. He got, unfortunately, hit by Jason Maines. Maines, of course, got loose on the exit of turn 4, came down into Brandon, and Brandon lost a bunch of positions as a result, and is no longer in contention to win the race at the moment. He's back in 10th.
Yeah, tonight's definitely been a series of unfortunate events as we lost both Patrick Gitter as well as Clayton Hoffman. So 3 big dudes right there just kind of got sidelined here just by some freak accidents.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a good way to describe it. I mean, we've seen, Patrick talking about his freak accident. I mean, Patrick Gitter was involved with lap traffic problems. I mean, I think we saw someone essentially get wrecked in front of him, and he had nowhere to go, and unfortunately broke his toe link, ended his night earlier. Clayton Hoffman, that's one that I don't even know what happened to Clayton. That's one that we never did get to the bottom of. So I'm hoping that one day that the light will be shed. Will reveal what happened there. But of course, we're coming up now. 41 laps to go.
It's almost like Clayton Hoffman got body snatched.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to Clayton. That's definitely interesting. But Randy Mullins coming to pit road. That gives Derek Heitman the lead now. So Randy, after really making a desperation call to stay out as long as he possibly could, has to come down now, grab a set of tires. He's going to get back out on the racetrack, and he's probably going to definitely go a lap down here. But Team Conti looking like the men to beat here, the team to beat here tonight. Now, entering this race, I got to say Paradigm seemed to be the team to beat. They seemed like they unloaded with the best cars, but it seemed like the Conti guys are a little bit better in this cooler track conditions. Jose Acosta, though, I got to give him a lot of credit. What a run he has had tonight in that 42 machine. Up to 5th right now, and he's right there on Paul Hill, his back bumper.
Yeah, way to go, Jose. He definitely came down and had a solid run. Did get into it with Papa Greg Machinsky a little bit earlier, but that just seemed to be a racing incident.
He definitely got into it with Greg. I don't think he's done getting into it because he is pushing the 26 right now. Jose, I don't mince words when I say that Jose is one of the most aggressive drivers in the ISCA. He took a pretty good long hiatus from this series, but has come back, and and I would say a lot of people don't probably agree, but I think Jose, his aggression is a positive in some regards. I mean, he's fast. He definitely is fast, but he will wreck you if you get in the way.
Man, you're just hard on poor Jose.
He's fast, though. I do say that. He is fast. I mean, I'm just saying that aggression in a race car driver is kind of it's a necessary thing, right?
Agreed.
It has to be that way. But, I think he's got it in spades, so a little bit more than others. As you can see, I mean, look at that. Just all over the rear end. And now they got the fresh tires of Randy Mullins coming in. And look at Randy. Just, woof. Randy says, get out of the way. He's a lap down and trying to get that lap back. I'll tell you, he's definitely a driving billboard for new tires. I mean, look at how quickly he was able to drive right by those guys. But Derek Heitman still in the lead. Paul Hill trying to hold on to this position as Jose trying to get this pass completed. Oh, and you know what's crazy, though? It looks like Jose does get the pass completed. No, crossover. You know what I was just thinking about this, Big Al? Abner and Paul, they got into it at New Hampshire. Abner Acosta, the brother of Jose, and now Jose's racing with Paul.
That is kind of funny.
That is kind of funny. It's like the brothers of destruction over here. Oh, man. I just thought of that. That's kind of funny in my opinion.
Jose was watching that night, so
he had to be.
Yeah, he was. I don't know if he remembers exactly who Paul Hill is, but he was watching that incident.
Well, if he was watching that, I'm sure he knows who Paul Hill is. But I mean, it looks like Jose did get the pass. He's now up to 4th, and Jose just having a phenomenal night here at Richmond. Fast race car. As you see Josh Schaffner trying to navigate his way through traffic. There goes Randy Mullins trying to unlap himself. Josh is having a great day. I mean, Josh in 3rd right now. Just a good points day for him. As we're coming up to 30 laps to go. Further back, Mark Sanchez fighting with Tim Wardman Jr.
Yeah, this is that time in the race you just want the driver to make good choices. You don't want him to put himself in a position to tear the car up and derail what we're doing. You got to keep your eye on the swivel. Watch out for those guys who are, just kind of out of it and have been, you know what I mean, for a while. This is that eerie part of the night.
And, this is that point of the night as well that we could see maybe a late race caution. This is that time that something could go wrong.
And
as
nobody
you see Tim
wants
Wardman
that.
Jr. Wortman Jr. just got into the wall on the exit of 2. That gives Mark Sanchez that 12th place position. Some of these guys want a caution, Big Al. I got to be honest. Some of these guys want that because that means they have a fresh chance at winning this race. You know,
I don't
we
know.
talked about that 2-tire call. That could happen here.
Brandon's actually doing pretty good. He's up to 8th, and he's running a pretty stellar pace.
Oh, I'm sure he is. He's definitely going to recover a lot of those positions that he lost. But I don't think unless a caution comes out, then he would be able to win, maybe go for the win. But he's not going to be able to catch back up to the leader. He's got 13 seconds to make up, and that's just too much.
That's a very true statement.
And you just got to hate it for Brandon. I mean, my heart breaks for him. He's had a fantastic season, and even with him not having a chance to win this race anymore, he still is getting a phenomenal points day. I mean, he's still getting playoff points. He won stage 1. He finished, I do believe, in like 3rd for stage 2, and if he finishes right where he's at, 8th, that's still a good points day for him.
That's a better day than pretty much everybody else in the field except for maybe DeCiani.
Yeah, DeCiani's
or Schaffner
had a pretty good day. Yeah, Schaffner has been really consistent today.
But Jose finds himself all the way up in 4th place.
I'm really liking what Brian Johnson's doing. Brian is on the rear end of Paul Hill. Brian, he was one of the ones that went longer. He stayed out for a little bit of time extra, and that has led to him being faster than the guys around him because he's on a little bit newer tires. You saw that. He was able to just drive right by Paul Hill, now up to 5th. This is a very solid day for the 4. Fastest car on the track right now. Brian's probably going to catch up Jose and probably be able to take 4th away. I don't know if he's going to be able to catch Josh. It's possible. I don't know though. Lap time wise, I don't know.
So you're saying that Jose is going to catch up to Brian, and Brian is just going to give him the position?
No, I said Brian's going to catch Jose. I don't think. Yeah, no. Jose's not just going to
pass. You said Brian was going to take 4th away from Jose.
I think he will. He's got the speed to. He drove right by Paul Hill like he wasn't moving.
We're talking about Jose Acosta.
We're talking about Jose. We'll see. I mean, and we got to also keep in mind, Brian and Jose have history. So, yeah.
I was getting ready to add that these two have met before.
They know each other.
Yes, very intimate.
Their cars have touched in the past.
Yes. They've given each other cars gender reassignment surgery.
Oh, my. Big Al, we're getting canceled. What a race so far. I got to be honest. This has been a fun race to watch. It's been a fun one to call. Richmond, I'll tell you, this is the action track. There's been a lot of action here tonight. And I think there's going to be more as we're still, I mean, if there's laps still to be had here, laps still to be turned, there's still things that could go wrong.
And this is a short track, so I'm definitely looking for a little bit of a shootout here.
Well, I mean, the longer this race goes on, I mean, we're already 230 laps into this race. You got to imagine some of these guys are starting to get frustrated. I mean, short tracks, when you're doing 200-something laps, after that, you get tired, and even somebody just looks at you wrong, you just get, if your spotter even says something wrong, you get mad at him.
Yeah, this is definitely, we've been on shift for quite a while here at this point in the competition, so these drivers are, they're worn out. And it hadn't been fun. It's been fun from where we're sitting, but it's really sucked down to where they're at because they've been dealing with each other. I can mute you, Brian.
I don't know how that broadcast would go with me being muted. Like, I don't know. That would be, I'd be sitting here talking and it'd be like, Big Al don't hear me. Kobe'd have to relay what I'm saying to you. Coming up to 15 laps to go, though. Derek Heitman in control right now, and it seems like he's pretty much got it well in hand. He's got about a 3-second gap on Matt DeCiani. Josh Schaffner is about 2 seconds back behind him. But Brian Johnson, this is the one we're watching. Brian Johnson has caught Jose Acosta. Do we see some fireworks because of this?
Or does Jose just gotta let him go by? Does he move up high? and let him go?
Does that look like that's what's happening here? Here we go, though. Brian, does he get the inside? I think he is.
I think that's what just happened.
And Jose, though, checking him down. He is definitely going to pinch him down. Ooh, there it is. A little bit of fireworks. Brian in the 40. Yeah, this is that. Jose pinched him down a little bit. Brian, I don't think appreciated that. This is not over. We're going to get some fireworks here at Richmond. The action track is going to deliver.
But Brian, I have no earth whatever you're talking about.
Well, I think you're going to find out. As I think these guys are not done. If we were looking for a caution, I think these guys are getting ready to give us one. Or do cooler heads prevail as we're coming up to 11 to go?
It does almost look like a classic cop chase right there. You know what I mean?
It does, kind of. That Brian's car does look like a police car.
Looks like a GSP pit
maneuver. And you can see, it's just so hard to pass. And we're 240 laps into this race. I mean, these guys are both aggravated. Brian's going to be like, man, I'm getting tired of working on this guy. He's going to drive over the line, and there's going to be a little bit of contact. You can just tell there's just a lot of aggression between these two drivers.
Everybody in the stands is on their feet. We're tuned in. We're not going anywhere. We're dialed in right here watching this battle. The battle for fourth place actually is heated up to be the biggest battle on the track right now. Mr. Derek Heitman seems to have the lead all but wrapped up, having somewhat of a 4-second gap over second place car of Matt DeCiani.
Yeah, I think Brian's going to end up moving Jose here because, I mean, coming to the end of the race, Jose's he's pretty formidable at defending this position, apparently.
Brandon Pasalaka won't mind that at all.
No, he probably would like a caution, but as Brian sends it in, can he get the pass completed? Oh, there you go, contact.
They're beating and banging.
This is not going to end well. Tempers are flaring. I would not be surprised if one of these drivers does not finish this race. As Jose gets a little bit of a bumper from the 4. These guys have history, and clearly the history is not over. The story, there's more being added.
Yeah, we're just starting a new chapter tonight.
This is the sequel. As Brian, can he get the pass completed? You can see those brakes lighting up red. 5 laps to go, I do believe, next time by.
Jose's going to put himself in a position to definitely do a crossover move here.
I do want to mention Josh Schaffner has passed DeCiani for second place. As it looks like Johnson might have the pass secured. Does he complete it? What does Jose do? And it looks like John does. I think Brian's got it. I think he's got it. Oh, a little bit of a wiggle there. That's going to put them side by side again. If Brian had not done that, he would have had that. He would have had that pass.
Well, he didn't.
But unfortunately, he messed up on the exit. And that puts Jose back in front.
Makes it a little bit more exciting for a couple more laps here, people.
Yeah, I'm wondering, does Brian get back to the back bumper? I think he will. Jose, I mean, just capitalizing there. I mean, I can't blame Jose at all for that. I mean, Brian just got loose. Here we go, side by side again. Brian's going to try the top side. As we're coming up, 2 laps to go. Do we stay green? Jose getting tight. Oof.
I think
And
this
here we
has been
go.
the battle of the season right here, Brian.
It has been the battle of the season. Can Brian complete this pass as we're coming to the white flag? Did we make the white flag? And I think we will. And Brian Johnson does make the pass happen. Woo! I'm shocked that did not end in a caution. White flag is out. Derek Heitman putting up Matthew Cisna, I do believe, another lap down there. And he is going to get the win here at Richmond Raceway. Derek, who I got to say struggled in stage 1, was able to right the ship. And he is going to win here tonight. What an awesome performance for the 76. Drivers come up and give him a congratulatory bump. He definitely earned this one. I mean, to have struggles like he did and be able to right that ship, got to give him a ton of credit.
Especially this being his first time at this track, you really got to take that in consideration as well.
And Mark Sanchez comes up and gives him a congratulatory bump. 76. Derek Heitman showing that he had the speed to get it done as he's going to do a burnout here. This race was definitely full of action. A little bit of displeasure being shown in pit road between the 4 and the 42. But there's no displeasure in the 76. He is just happy this one's over, and he's happy to be grabbing the checkered flag. Let's go down through the rest of the running order here, our final results. Derek Heitman, your winner here tonight. Definitely a fantastic drive from him. Josh Schaffner finishes in second place. Great drive for the 50 machine. Won a stage and grabs points here tonight. Matt DeCiani finishes in third. Fourth place, Brian Johnson. Fifth place, Jose Acosta. Paul Hill finishes sixth. What a recovery for the 26. Jeffrey Souza finishes in seventh. Brandon Pasalacqua, just a heartbreaking conclusion to this race, still rounds out in eighth, which is not a bad finish. Kenny Powell finishes ninth. Jason Maines in 10th. Randy Mullins, after pretty much waiting forever to pit, finishes in 11th. Greg Wachinski in 12th and Mark Sanchez 13th.
That's going to put Alexander Carr in 14th with Tim Wardman Jr. in 15th. 16th, John Bender, 17th with Matthew Cisna. Randy Drumhiller comes in 18th with Jay Hone after the eventful night coming in 19th. 20th shows us Randy Belk, while 21st is Slayton Hoffman. 22nd is Patrick Gitter. 23rd, Dick King. 24th, Greg Carr and Paul Osen rounds out this 25-car field. With that done in the post-race, with that done, we'll take a brief break, step away, get a couple more words from our sponsors. We'll be back with our post-race show.
Cardiology, I don't have the heart. Pulmonary doctor, no cigar. I can't diagnose a simple cold or flu, but if your engine's got a cough, I know what to do. Give it 6 of these and wash it down with this. A new air filter ought to help it catch its breath. Napa know how. Napa know how.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ISCA Super Cup Series here at Richmond Raceway. The Napa 250 just finished up. Of course, we saw Derek Heitman win. Of course, Josh Shopner finished second, and Matt DeCiani finished third. We're going to go ahead and talk with our top three finishers, starting with Matt DeCiani driving the one machine. Matt, definitely a good race for you here. Solid top five, top three. You started in fifth, finished in third, so definitely a good positive result here for you. How was the car feeling? It seemed like maybe there towards the end of the race, you started struggling a little bit more. What was going on there?
Yeah, I was on a set I built from the ground up from the spring, and I didn't really run any laps before tonight. And yeah, I needed 3 changes that I couldn't make on a pit stop, and I think I would have been really strong. But yeah, I just lacked a little long run pace after like 45 laps, and just kind of lost rear grip, and I just needed that one extra change, and I think I might have had a car capable of winning tonight. But yeah, overall was pretty good for something I hadn't worked on in a couple months, so surprised that kind of held up. But yeah, I mean, it was a good race. Brandon, I thought, had a really strong car tonight too. I don't know what happened to him, but yeah, Josh was strong as well, and Derek did a great job in the long run like always. And yeah,
that's definitely really, really interesting. I mean, it seemed like your setup definitely still held up very well. I would love to have seen how it would have held up if you were able to make that change. Of course, you took 2 tires kind of towards the, I do believe, the beginning of stage 3, and ran for a long time in the lead, even with that 2-tire call. Like, we were kind of surprised that worked. What was the decision there? Was it just for track position?
it was kind of confirming what I thought I needed to change on the car, just with the way the stagger was and stuff like that. And yeah, it's what the car needed, and I just needed to have that in there before the race. But yeah, that helped a lot to do that. I wish I could have done it on that last run, but I couldn't. You can't run 100 plus laps on left sides here. So, but yeah, it worked fine. So that was good to see.
Well, definitely a good point stay for you for sure, Matt. Of course, next week I do believe we're heading to Michigan. How are you feeling about that track?
Oh, Michigan is a blast. I love that track. Probably one of my favorite to run. I wish it wasn't so draft dependent. It's kind of broken on the sim, but it'll still be a fun track. And yeah, I think it'll be packed up. So you'll need to have some friends next week. But it should be an exciting race.
Yeah, we're definitely looking forward to it for sure. Michigan always puts on a good show. Who can we give a shout out though, Matt, for your third place finish?
Yeah, thanks for you guys for calling the race. Congrats to Josh and Derek on their second and first. Team Conti, Martin PC. Yeah, thanks to my other teammates. I know Pat crashed out, unfortunately, but Paul and Randy did a good job tonight too.
All right, Matt. Well, thanks for your time, and we'll see you next week.
Yep, take care, guys.
Alrighty, that was Matt DeCiani, driver of the One Machine. Next up, Big Al standing by with Josh Schaffner, the Corn Man.
Josh Schaffner, Big Al up in the booth once again. Congratulations on your second place finish.
I appreciate that. Been a long time coming. I think this is my best finish of the year, and yeah, great to be on the podium second out of 3 weeks. So it's nice to be putting together some runs, and kind of had a mistake last week, but was glad to put together a clean race tonight.
Yeah, you guys definitely look like you are here to stay coming into the last part of this season.
Yeah, I've been working hard, and I guess me this season I haven't raced as much. I've missed a few races. Just a family that's getting older, and family commitments and stuff, which is great, and takes a little bit of time to simmer away, but definitely won't trade that time back. And my schedule is getting a little bit more available to race, and this was a track I was really poor here in the spring and I think last fall, and yeah, I had a little bit of time this week and just wanted to kind of figure out what I've been doing wrong here. And Randy gave me a couple nice adjustments there, some things he was working on, and it really fit my driving style. And yeah, put together a good race. And like for me right now, just trying to get a little more track time, a little bit more just race acumen. That's probably what I've been lacking, maybe more so than pace. Just not managing races the way I normally do, and just trying to take it 1 week at a time and making sure I get to the finish line and get home each week.
So coming up from the future, what can we expect to see coming out of that Paradigm team, specifically that 5-0 corn car?
Yeah, for me, I'm a little bit different position in the playoffs than I was last year. I had really strong regular season and playoff points. My stage win tonight was my first playoff point, so I'm in a tough spot. But on the same time, we're a 5-car team at times, and 4 running for the championship this year. And the big thing is we want to work together, but also understand where we're at in the points, and make sure Brandon and Brian are running good, and Randy and I are still chipping away at this thing, and we're getting better every week. But our goal is rolling the playoffs with all 4 cars running the best we have all year, and I think each week we're showing that we're inching a little bit closer. But I don't think any of us think we're fully there as a group yet. But I think we're getting closer each week.
Well, speaking of getting closer and better, we got Michigan coming up, which is a little bit different than this track. How's that going to fare into your quest to get into the playoffs?
No, I'm excited. I like racing there. Kind of ditto to Matt. It's a lot of fun. I'm guessing it's going to be draft locked. I guess we haven't raced there yet this year, and I guess we'll kind of see how that goes. But I assume we'll be in some packs for part of those runs, and maybe if we get some long runs, we could maybe spread out a little bit. But yeah, we'll have to work together, and we have great teammates. Some of these tracks that with that Paradigm teammates, we work so well together, and I think if it does become a teammate race, I think we'll be in great shape.
Any predictions on maybe a podium for you next week?
Michigan's unique. You got to survive and be there at the end. But predictions. Like I said, for me, I just want to put together complete races, mistake free, like I did at Chicago and here, and I just need to do that week to week, and I'll be fine.
Roger, I'll take that, man. Congratulations again of your Stage 2 victory and your second place finish overall. Who are you shouting out tonight before we let you go?
Yeah, well, definitely want to give out a shout to Matt there, third in the podium, and we kind of had an accordion race all night. He'd kind of jump out there and I'd run him down, and sometimes we wish that was for first and second, but it was fun just kind of playing that cat and mouse game with him, and it's fun to race them guys. And yeah, again, big congrats to Derek. I'm not sure if it was track position early on, but he was really strong when the lights came on, and I think he was probably the class of the field there in this third stage, and he did a great job, managing his race and being fast when it counted. Big thanks to Kenny and the ISCA, Brian, Big Al, Kobe up there in the booth. Production's been awesome every week. Appreciate everybody does, and obviously want to thank Pioneer Seeds, all our farmers and ranchers across the country, and just appreciate all the work they do as well.
Man, boss, good on you, man. And as I always say, don't party too hard, and we'll see you next week.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
All right, that was Josh Schaffner, driver of the 50 machine. Next up, we're going to talk to the 76 of Derek Heitman. Derek, definitely a fantastic run for you here tonight. You started in second place. You were able to capitalize and lead 48 laps of the night show. Of course, it seemed like it was a battle between you and Brandon all night long. Walk us through that battle and how you kind of you had some trials, I'd say, in the beginning of this race when it came to the handling in stage 1.
Yeah, in stage 1, I really I pushed and did my best to fend Clayton off for P2. And then I was trying to push just way too hard to keep up and catch back up to Brandon after I fended Clayton off, and I ended up burning the right rear off it. Then getting into one corner, I think I braked a little earlier than Clayton probably would have liked me to, and I got a little bit of a bump, but somehow I was able to save it. I thought I was absolutely dead right there, but other than that, track position really wasn't my friend at all tonight. Those late cautions right before the end of the stages, I didn't play the flip the stage game. I just pit on the stage, and at the beginning of stage 3, I should say the end of stage 2, we had that caution and I didn't pit again, and everybody else pitted, and then I lost all that track position again. And then all those guys that did pit with like 10 to go in stage 2 pitted again for tires to start to stage 3, so it's not like I was gonna have a tire advantage either. So I just kept putting myself into a deep hole all night, but I just had to be patient and kind of weave my way through traffic and let everything work out in front of me. And then I was able to get up to Brandon, stage 3, and then as soon as I caught him and got to his bumper, I was like, I'm not going to try to fight him because we were so close to being at the halfway mark in stage 3, and we were going to have to pit for fuel. We were probably 8 laps until we were at the halfway mark, and so I decided to undercut him. He still beat me off pit road on the pit cycle, and unfortunately got into some trouble, so we never really got to race and see who was going to come out on top. But as far as the car went, I felt like I had really good long run pace all night. Just track position, I didn't really have anything to show for it, but I'm glad it worked out in the end.
Yeah, for sure. No, you definitely had the long run pace for sure. I feel like Brandon was very good, but I think when those lights came on, I think you definitely had the best car. That's for sure. I mean, you just were faster than everybody else on the longer run. So fantastic job to you. Glad to see you in victory lane here tonight. I mean, what do you think does this do for you momentum wise? I mean, I know we're getting closer and closer and closer to playoff time.
I mean, momentum-wise, it's a game of track position and keeping the nose clean and not wrecking, right? So I don't really believe in momentum. I just believe in being able to just, show up and be consistent, if you will. As far as it getting close to playoff time, I'm really not too concerned with winning right now or where I finish. The playoff points are nice, but as far as when playoff time comes, it'll be head down and away we go.
All right, well, hopefully that works out for you. I know you definitely put on championship level performances. Hopefully you can get yourself a trophy and get yourself that championship, because I do believe you are capable of that, Derek. You're consistent every week. We see you out here on the racetrack. Next week is Michigan. Do you have that one circled on the calendar?
Yeah, I didn't even have this one circled on the calendar. These were my first laps I ran all week tonight. I've just been kind of out of the iRacing spirit lately, so when I show up next week, it'll probably be my first laps off the hauler again, and we'll just see where we wind up.
Well, for you being outside of the iRacing spirit, I mean, you definitely seem like you're in the winning spirit at least, so great job, though, Derek. Who can we shout out after this victory?
Yeah, shout out Team Conti, of course, for giving me a ripping set. Shout out you guys up in the booth. I'm sure you guys called a great race. I'll have to go back and watch this one back again. You did a great job last week at Pocono. That was fantastic to watch. Kenny putting on the league, my teammates, Matt, Patrick, who unfortunately got caught up in some mess, and then, Randy did a good job tonight, and I mean, Paul found a way to come up and finish inside the top 10 after having a terrible start to the night. So all in all, it was a pretty good team showing for the cards that we were dealt, and yeah, I appreciate it.
All right, Derek, thanks for your time, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Alrighty, that was Derek Heitman, your race winner, driver of the 76 machine. Definitely a fantastic performance from him. Really just a great race altogether. I do want to give a shout out to Brandon Postlaka for just running a really, really good race today, recovering, finishing 8th. And I do want to echo Paul Hill as well. I mean, Paul had fallen outside of the top 20 earlier in this race, had major right front damage, somehow was able to recover to finish 6th. I mean, that is an incredible redemption story here tonight. But Big Al, what are your final thoughts about tonight's race?
Man, it was definitely a heavyweight battle going on down there tonight. Congratulations to all the drivers that made it, man. It was a rough one, man. Definitely. Glad it's over.
Yeah, I mean, I think the word I used earlier, brutal. I think that's probably the best description that we have right now is brutal. It was a brutal race here tonight. I mean, these guys had to absolutely wheel these cars, W-H-E-E-L, and as well as they had to will these cars around, W-I-L-L, these cars around this track. I mean, this is not an easy race, very physical. This is the action track for sure, and I definitely had fun watching them for sure. I started sweating watching these guys for sure, though. But next week, we're going to be heading to Michigan, a different track. Of course, we're going to see tire wear be significant at that track, though, as well as the draft being very, very important. We'll see who's going to show up with the best car, who's going to show up with the best mindset as well, as we're getting closer and closer to that playoff time. Intensity is going to continue to rise. Drivers are going to want to get a victory so that they can lock themselves in. So I just see desperation going to be probably what we're going to see at Michigan next week. I'm looking forward to it. Make sure you tune in 9:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's when the broadcast begins. Of course, the race itself starts a little after 9:30. You don't want to miss it. I think that's going to be an exciting one. It's going to be a lot of drafting, a lot of 3-wide. Michigan always just puts on awesome shows, and I'm definitely looking forward to it. But you're only going to see it here in the ISCA, here in the Super Cup Series. Make sure you tune in, and we'll see you then. Bye.
I found the ISCA after I'd been in the service for a long time. I'd been in iRacing for well over a decade, and spent most of my time in NASCAR series, a lot of fixed racing for the most part, and really just got to a point in my iRacing career where I really wanted to get involved in open setup racing versus fixed, partially because I was just looking for a little higher level of competition, you know, maybe a little cleaner driving, and maybe get away from some of the challenges that go along with fixed racing on the service. And it took me a while as I was really searching out leagues, because I kind of had a very specific thing I was looking for. A, I wanted to be an established league. You know, B, I just really wanted clean, quality drivers to be racing around. And once I found the ISCA, I found out really quick that it was going to check all those boxes. And